Is the camera on? Cold open. Looking at the camera. I swear I always forget to look at the camera. I swear I'm talking to you guys. I promise. Hello, welcome to another vlog. Today, I'm just setting up my stream setup. Yes, I'm unemployed and I'm trying to set up a streaming setup. Don't judge. I'm probably gonna make a separate video about me looking for a job since I'm unemployed and I need a source of income. One of my previous videos when I was talking about doing the things that I love, I was like, I might as well set up a stream because my mic, hold on. Because I was streaming on TikTok and it was really fun. There was maybe 1 to 3 people that I was engaging and interacting with. And I thought I was only going to be streaming for an hour or 30 minutes, but I ended up streaming for 2 to 3 hours both times I did it. So this time, do it with gaming. Since I'm getting somewhat of a crowd, might as well do some gaming with it. Anyway, the real reason that I want to vlog today was, as you can tell by the title of the video, I want to talk about how I struggle with being social. By the way, I'm losing my voice, so if I sound a little weird, that's why. Also, I have notes this time. I'm gonna be reading notes. And also, sorry about the lighting. I'm in a bunk bed type of thing. I kind of want to talk about how I struggled socially as a Filipino American and as someone who went through quite a bit in childhood, because I feel like that affected me a lot growing up. I mentioned childhood because as I'm entering my late 20s and making new friends along the way, I'm finding out that I didn't really have that many close friends to begin with, which is very odd because the current friends that I have and even the friends I've had in the past, they've always told me something that has shocked me. Achoo! One more. Jesus Christ. In my adulthood currently, I had a conversation with a friend of mine about social anxiety. We met through improv class, so the way this topic got brought up was about having the courage to be on stage. And I magically told her that I get very nervous whenever I go on stage. And it wasn't just her, but everyone else in the class, in the room, all looked at me and all started laughing. They were like, wow, Rustin? Social anxiety? Right. The honest truth is, I was never confident. I still don't feel confident till this day. Even when I'm on camera, I honestly still get nervous being right here talking to you right now. It feels like I'm talking to no one. Maybe one day when I get really big and famous, I'll show how awkward I was when I first started YouTube. You can very clearly tell I was an awkward lad behind the camera and I was trying too hard to become a YouTuber. Not to mention, in my family, I grew up constantly criticized. And I'm not trying to fault my parents or family that I grew up with. But let's just say I was constantly being compared, whether it was to my cousins, to my sister, even schoolmates. Constantly being compared to never fit with me. I always felt like I was different from the others, and not in a gifted type of way, but in a way where I just needed a very specific, unique way to go around talking or teaching me. For the longest time, context, I've had undiagnosed ADHD. It wasn't until my early 20s, mid 20s, where I finally found out what was going on. But even then, I was in denial. Because if you know anything about Filipino culture, when it comes to mental health, at least back then, in the early 2000s or late 1900s, I'm saying it was like a century ago. I'm not old. Constantly being compared to and having all my work being criticized, whether it was an A minus, whether it was an 89%, it was always criticized in some way or that I could do better. And going back to the comparison, I was the type of kid that always wanted to do things differently, wanted to do things my own way. And it was fun because I would find ways to make things work. One instance I remember from my childhood was my mother trying to tell me that the proper way to sweep things is to use two hands. But I told her, what if I just use one hand and I use my other hand to hold the pan and I scoop it together? It's like a claw machine. I thought it was just a fun, innocent idea, and it was working. No, I was constantly told it was wrong, that it was not okay to do that. You know how confusing that is to a kid? When you see something that works, and then someone tells you, no, that doesn't work actually, even though it worked. I felt like I was going insane. Going back to the point, the way that made me struggle socially was that anytime I wanted to express myself, or if I wanted to do something daring, and when I say daring, I don't mean jumping off a cliff or anything. I mean raising my hand in class to share an opinion, not even to ask a question, just an opinion, just to share in class. When I was a kid, I loved show and tell. I loved coming into Friday morning in kindergarten and showing off my toys or my cards. I loved that. I loved the attention. I loved the spotlights. But because I was constantly filled with criticism, comparison, I couldn't approach anyone because the last thing I wanted to be was compared to someone else. I didn't want to be compared to another kid at the playground. I didn't want my teacher to compare me to another smart kid in the class. It really just kept me in a bubble for such a long time. I protected my own inner ego, but in doing so, it prevented me from being who I truly am. And I think that's why I am back on YouTube, because this really is the place where I feel like I can be myself. Where just because there's no one around me, doesn't mean that there's no one watching. So it fulfills the need of wanting my attention, but it also fulfills the need of just being myself, which is amazing. It's great. So going on to my next point, actually, being constantly compared to being constantly criticized for any small creativity that I was doing, I just always felt insecure. Like, you know that feeling of not wanting to say the wrong thing? Because you just don't want people to see you in a different light. Or you're trying to save face. It's like you're trying to protect a reputation or something. Well, looking back, as a kid, I'm like, what reputation? I was a kid. What, the reputation, coolest kid in 3rd grade? It's so funny because I can look back at those moments now and be like, it didn't matter. But that's because I've done the work now. It's so crazy to look back and know that there were kids who already had this type of confidence in themselves at my age back then. Whereas I was struggling and it took me this long to be able to be somewhat confident in who I am and around others. And I think that's the main problem, right? I was always just trying to be someone else, always trying to fit someone else's vision, someone else's needs. The thing about Filipinos, if you're not Filipino and you're watching, Filipinos are absolutely obsessed with status. At least old school Filipinos. I don't know about new gen Filipinos, but old school ones though. Like Gen Z or millennial Filipinos can tell you that their parents were absolutely obsessed with the status of who they were, their kids, doesn't matter. You're obsessed with it. So that being said, I grew up around with people who were so obsessed with their image. It's really funny because now that I'm 28, going to therapy, living alone, going on my own solo adventures, and just by being me, I've really learned no amount of status in the world could ever buy you the genuine happiness that you get from pure, genuine connection. It's such a pure-hearted, warm feeling that you get when you can really just connect with someone, just as yourself. And then that person being themselves with you. It's a really great feeling because it just tells you and that person, and even an entire room can even feel it, that both of you just want to be yourselves and both of you accept yourselves for who you are. And honestly, I think the whole world could be a little bit like that. Let's be honest. One of the reasons why I think I could really excel being a therapist is because I've always done my best to try to reserve judgment to others. And that's my goal with being a therapist. I want to see everyone's perspectives. Have your political views. I don't care if you're left or right. My goal as a therapist, my main mission in life, is to hear the stories of everyone and to hear everyone's stories. I'm not one to judge. I'm not the one to even make choices for you either. To my future clients, I want you to know, whatever you tell me, I genuinely will never have any sort of judgment on you. I don't want you to feel insecure whenever you come into my office. I want you to feel safe, heard. I want you to know that I've been through some crap too in my life. I still feel insecurities up until my life right now. I've just learned to cope with it over the time. So allow me to be your guide and show you the steps that you're gonna have to take. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Next point.
Yo, that mountain is typically very clear. It's hard to see.
It's funny, as I'm vlogging this, as I'm trying to build this, as I'm talking, I realize I think I've only done one thing, and that's screwing on the mic. The stand was plugged in beforehand. Now, the next thing I only have to do is put in this cable. The last point that I really want to bring up, though, is I think the hardest parts about struggling socially is that nobody knows. There are people where you can tell that they are clearly nervous when they're presenting, when they're performing, or even when they're just talking to people. There are people who do feel that genuine jitter. I'm not discrediting those people, right? Again, I used to be that person anyway. But like I said earlier, whenever I told my friends that I struggle socially, really close friends, they always laughed at me because they were like, what do you mean, Rustin? You're the most confident person in the world. So that's when it hit me. The only one who knows that's struggling, the only one who knows that I'm struggling socially is me. It's just me. It's all in here. So what's the lesson, everyone? What's the lesson, Rustin? Are you just trying to say that you just gotta have a positive mindset? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. The main thing I really want to say, my whole message about all of this is be kind to that one social friend of yours, that one life of the party in your friend group, especially if you notice they tend to be the kindest person in your group. Odds are they're going through a lot. I hope you enjoyed this vlog where I barely built my streaming setup. This was really fun to talk about. Sorry I don't have much more exciting things to say or to show. Also hit 10 subscribers this week. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. And please let me know what other type of videos you guys want me to see. And if you guys see some different videos, just remember I do batch record some of these. So I don't have a consistent format of what type of videos I want to make yet, but it seems like there are people who really like these type of videos. So thank you so much. It's Rustin. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to support the channel, and be gentle with that bell button. Be gentle. Just give it a light tap. Mwah. Anyway, see you, my heroes. Have a good day. Bye.